What's up, kinfolk? Welcome to the #1 ranked show sponsored by Direct TV Stream. I'm your host, RJ Young. Thank you for watching on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or listening wherever you get your podcasts. So today, we're going big game hunting with Bud Gilmer counting 5 ranked matchups and every last top 25 team getting nuck if you buck, hustling, and flowing to the football, and 7 of them caught holding that L. I love preseason rankings because it turns college football into a blood sport. Let's go. It's the #1 ranked show. So we got to start with number 5, Georgia, upsetting number 3, Clemson, 10-3. And ladies and gentlemen, there was a reckoning tonight. A bloodletting was had. A sickness was cast out. In 2020, the UGA offense averaged 37 points and 311 passing yards per game, with JT Daniels behind center. It's averaged just 29 points and 209 passing yards per game without him. Crucially, the Bulldogs were undefeated with a 4-0 record with Daniels at quarterback and averaged better than 300 passing yards with 10 passing TDs and 2 INTs. There are 12 returnees from that 2020 team on the 2021 squad, and 8 of those play on the offense. Last year, Alabama quarterback Mac Jones ranked first in passing yards per attempt at 11.19. In 4 games in 2020, Daniels averaged 10.34 yards per attempt, which ranked second among Power 5 QBs, with a minimum of 100 pass attempts. Heading into Saturday, Georgia was 42-18-4 all time versus Clemson, including a 45-21 shellacking in 2014, though this was the first ever game between the schools when both are ranked in the top 5 of the AP. Now, check it, man. When DJ Uiagalelei threw that pick 6, I knew the wheels had come off of the Clemson wagon, okay? Every starting quarterback at the top 4 teams in the country has thrown at least 1 interception in their opener, except Heisman frontrunner Bryce Young, who we will talk about a little bit later on. Clemson also, get this, rushed for 1 yard in the first half against Georgia. Their lowest first half total since 2008. And hold on to that fact because it also scored as many points as Penn State and Wisconsin teams that they were making fun of in that first half football on Saturday earlier. Then in the third quarter, I looked down and saw that Clemson had rushed for -19 yards. That's right, -19 means on top of sacking DJ Uiagalelei 7 times, the Dogs literally put the number 3 team in the country in a hole. You know, like a 6-foot hole, like in a pauper field. Like rushing yards, you know, taking QB sacks into account for the math might be unfair, but so are tax brackets and student loan debt, yet here we are. Anyway, they finished with 2 rushing yards and scored 3 points. And those 3 points are the fewest by a Clemson team since 2007. September 29, 2007, when they lost to Georgia Tech 13-3. And to demonstrate how long ago that was, Georgia Tech lost $1 million payout and to North Illinois today, to the NIU Huskies. This is what Clemson is staring down. I don't want to hear no more talk about Clemson making the college football playoff. They were done today because preseason rankings exist. No, look at the schedule, okay? The 2 best teams left in the ACC were UNC and Miami. Now you are praying that North Carolina State and Virginia Tech will carry the load for you. No, sir. I don't want to hear any more conversation about Clemson making the college football playoff. The schedule is Kayshon Boutte. You get what I'm saying here? Because that's my lead-in to UCLA beating number 16 LSU 38-20. Now, check it. Hard as it was to believe, this was the first time, or the first game, between the big bad Bears of Westwood and the Zydeco banging Bayou Bengals. This despite a Pac-12 school has been in every one of the 25 games played against LSU because that's a verifiable fact. The Pac-12 was in those games because they showed up and they got the clocks clean like they were being disinfected for COVID. LSU was 22-3 all time against Pac-12 opponents heading into Saturday. And UCLA was a paltry 13-2, like Clemson's rushing yards. UCLA looked at itself in the mirror like Michael Jackson, you know the song, and said, "Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan." My God. Okay, UCLA ran up and down LSU, 200 plus yards against LSU for the OGs in the house. Dorian Thompson-Robinson had 260 yards passing at one point and averaged 16.3 yards per attempt with 3 TDs and a pick with 6:31 left to play. And of course, UCLA wins 38-28. But should UCLA be ranked? Hell yes, they should be ranked. That's a tease. The Revenant sequel featuring Pac-12 football is what I'm here for. But that would also mean that you have to come back from the dead, which is what Washington's going to have to do. Check it. FCS Montana upset number 20 Washington. Whoo, boy. According to Montana, first time in their history that they have beaten Washington. I think they would be the authority on such a thing. And we have not seen an FCS team beat a ranked opponent in who knows how long. It's not just that the FCS Montana squad upset number 20 Washington 13-7 in Seattle. It's that the Huskies paid the Grizzlies $675,000 for the privilege. Isn't it so Pac-12 for an unranked team to beat a ranked SEC team while a ranked Pac-12 team lost to an FCS team? I think so. Pac-12 football. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. Okay. You know what's not going to be a lot of fun? Playing Alabama. Number 1 Alabama ran roughshod over number 14 Miami 44-13, like Bosworth to 13. Nick Saban followed up losing 5 first-round draft picks to the NFL with quite literally the best recruiting class in history. That's like if the Infinity Gauntlet was being worn by Captain Marvel. It's a total hat on a hat situation. You don't stop that. You bend the knee and beg for mercy because the Dragon Queen has you. Anyway, Alabama demonstrated that when the Tide obviously saw where I ranked them because of the new starting quarterback, the new offense coordinator, the new center, the new receiving core, and the new cornerback. And, he took out their frustrations on Miami. Look, new parts don't usually play like they've got 50,000 miles together. So I was right to doubt them, just not anymore because now we have football. Ohio State is as talented as Alabama and as new in some spots. Stack Alabama's performance against Miami with Ohio State's performance against Minnesota. And this is the Kong variant, Nick Saban. But the Tide didn't escape this one unscathed either. Linebacker Christopher Allen suffered an injury that could sideline him for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, Bryce Young was otherworldly. Bryce Young played like $1 million quarterback because, well, he actually is. He hit 27 of 38 for 344 with 4 TDs. And just like that, he's the Heisman frontrunner, mostly because unlike Spencer Rattler, CJ Stroud, and DJ Uiagalelei, he didn't throw an interception. And then Jameson Williams played like he was once number 4 on the wide receiver depth chart at Ohio State, and he chose to hold a grudge. He had 4 catches for 126, including 1 for 94. John Mechie added 6 for 76 with a TD. And yes, a dude named Cameron Latou had 3 catches. 2 of them were TDs. And then you got to take into account that they showed depth at tailback, right? Jace McClellan got touches. Of course, Brian Robinson Jr. got touches. And then Trey Sanders, who missed last season due to injury, scored from 20 yards out. Alabama is now the clear number 1 team in the country to me, even as it has been for y'all for some time, and it's not close. What was Penn State, Wisconsin. Now, number 19 Penn State beat number 12 Wisconsin 16-10 in the best game of the day for me, like quite honestly. It's not just that Penn State has won 4 straight against Wisconsin or had. It's that only one team has won 5 straight against Wisconsin heading into Saturday, and that was, of course, Ohio State. Now there are 2, but it gets even better if you're a Nittany Lions fan. This was also James Franklin's first career road win against a top 15 team ever. He was 0-12 before winning at Madison today. Jahan Dotson finished with 102 receiving yards. And the Nittany Lions put up 254 total yards in a game that was tied at 0 until the 8-minute, 41-second mark in the third quarter. Wisconsin lost at home to the Nittany Lions despite having possession for 42 minutes and 51 seconds of a 60-minute football game. What I'm saying is they had a chance to win this thing several times. Two of them were in Graham Mertz's hands, quite literally, right? He missed two throws that could have won Wisconsin this football game based entirely on the score. Penn State can't expect to challenge Ohio State for the Big Ten East with an offense that needs 35 minutes of a 60-minute game to wake up. Now, this Jim Leonhard Wisconsin defense is absolutely legit. And it might be the best one Penn State sees all year, right? Brent Pry is dialed in with Ellis Brooks, who had 11 tackles and a sack before getting tossed for an egregious targeting penalty. And that's kind of something I am passionate about as well. You saw that Joel Klatt went straight at it, right, on the broadcast. And I support this man. I can't agree more with him. You have to have levels to this. You can't just toss a dude out for a targeting call. You have to measure intent. We didn't see Ellis Brooks in a game where he probably has a lot to say about what happens next. All right. Number 17, Indiana got rocked by number 18, Iowa, 34-6. Again, man, it's not that Indiana was ranked in a preseason poll for the first time since we landed on the moon. It's that they're seeking a third consecutive season for the first time since 1947, or when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Turns out Tyler Goodson is still that dude. He went for 56 yards to score, and Spencer Petras is a true threat to run. Iowa, really, they scored 2 on pick sixes, 2 touchdowns on pick sixes from Michael Penix. Like Riley Moss just showing up being like, that's mine, taking it back to the house. Also means that Iowa's offense only scored 20 points, but if the defense is going to get you 14, like, come on, man. Still, Penix throws 3 INTs in a game. It's tough to win that kind of game. You got to fix that. And then Ty Freifogel had a 33-yard catch that should have ended in a touchdown, but he got his shoes tied by the turf monster. I'm just saying, with Indiana, I wanted it to be a big year. It might not be as such. They got some work to do. Okay, we got to work through this. If you're Tom Allen, Iowa, meanwhile, has asserted themselves, I think, as the Big Ten West Division like leader because Minnesota lost, Wisconsin lost. They have an opportunity here, and their defense might rival Wisconsin's and Penn State's. Number 23, Louisiana got smacked by number 21, Texas, 38-18. The last time Texas lost to a Sun Belt opponent was actually never. They never did. The Longhorns are now 11-0 against the SBC, and the last time they played Louisiana, they stopped a mud hole in them and walked it dry 60-3 in the 2005 season opener. Texas hasn't been back since. The Raging Cajuns had seen a bad moon rising, or, over the last couple of years they had. In 2020 alone, Louisiana knocked off a ranked Iowa State that played its best season in school history, finishing with a win against Big 12. And finishing with a win against the future Big 12 champ, I should say, in Oklahoma, because they beat them in the regular season. And then Fiesta Bowl win against the Pac-12 champ, Oregon, and shared the Sun Belt title with Cinderella herself, Coastal Carolina, who we'll talk about in a minute. And whatever we say about the Texas Longhorns, remember this: they never trailed Tulane. Just gonna leave that there for you. Hudson Card looked good in his debut. He went 14-21 for 224 with 2 tutties, right? And I don't know, man. As I fumble with my IFB, the Raging Cajuns got a case of the runs against Texas because, Bijan Robinson is there. And Bijan Robinson carries the ball 20 times for 103 yards. They only rushed for 170 at Texas. And I'm starting to figure out who's actually the brains, or seems to be, at Washington the last few years. Pete Kwiatkowski's defense went out there and absolutely mauled, right? 4 of 13 third downs were converted by Louisiana. That's it. But Levi Lewis still passed 28 of 40 for 282, and the Longhorns sacked, him 4 times. And I understand if you're a Texas fan, you're looking at this, you're going, Iowa State barely beat Northern Iowa. Oklahoma barely beat Tulane. This is our year. Texas fans going to be Avengers assembling. you know, like at the end game when Cap is going over there and he's like, I can do this all day, but he can't because Thanos has got the Black Legion behind him. And then all of a sudden out of the portal come all these Texas fans going, we're going to win the Big 12 championship. They hope. Vatek upset number 10, North Carolina 17-10. Sam Howell threw 8 touchdown passes in 2 games leading up to this one against the Hokies. But against the Fighting Fuentes, he was sacked 6 times and intercepted 3 times, including the last one where Jordan Williams had his hooks into Howell like a Brahma bull has a rodeo clown who realized too late in his career he'd lost a step. Williams tossed the football, right? Or excuse me, Howell tossed the football like the last grenade in the bag into the arms of Chamari Connor, where, you know, any chance of a Tar Heel comeback was detonated. And who knew that a public school kid from Tulsa, Oklahoma, like Justin Fuente, could build a team capable of beating one led by an active college football Hall of Famer and national title winning head coach like friend of the show, Mac Brown. This is one of my favorite things about the sport. It takes all kinds, man. Like, again, look at Sam Howell, for instance. He's from a place called Indian Trail, North Carolina. And Indian Trail is a city with just over 41,000 residents, according to U.S. Census data. But it has starting quarterbacks in the preseason top 25 by itself in Howell and Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall. That's more than Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, and Mississippi combined. And since we're here, let me tell you about Oconee County in Georgia. Oconee is home to just over 40,000 residents too. But its Oconee County High School has produced 2 starting quarterbacks in the SEC in 4 years and 3 on the SEC's rosters. 5-star Brock Vandagriff signed with Georgia in 2021. Max Johnson starts at LSU after cooking number 7 for Florida at the Swamp and getting cooked by UCLA. And Zeb Nolan starts for South Carolina after previously starting at North Dakota State and Iowa State, where he cooked Oklahoma for 360 yards through the air. But back to Howell, who was voted ACC preseason player of the year and believed, we all did, that he was, you know, good enough to be selected number 1 overall in 2022 NFL draft. He had a really, really rough day. And you know what? We both did play peep this graphic. Like, I'm not at all sure that these Heisman sleepers are working out for me. I mean, some of them do, like Bryce Young being 2 there looks good, but Sam Howell number 1, like we got the picture of him and everything. Kayvon Thibodeau is 10 on this list, so I put him on the list. That's great. Derek Stingley Jr. just took an L. Like, JT Daniels, I don't know. It's looking real rough for your boy over here. It's rough for your boy's national championship pick. It's rough for your boy's Heisman favorites. It's just rough for your boy. It's rough for him like it's rough for number 11 Oregon, who survived Fresno State 31-24 when this game was tied in the 4th. We're still in it, though. Oregon began its game against Fresno State 7-2 against the Bulldogs all time. Matter of fact, the last 7 games they played between the Ducks and the Bulldogs have been won by the Dark Wings, dating back to the first term of the Reagan administration. Having put that lockjaw on the Huskies last weekend, Fresno State was looking to solve that mystery and rewrite history. DuckTales, woo! Tales of daring, do bad, and good luck tales, woo! Not ponytails or cottontails, no DuckTales, woo! Fresno State had also won its last 3 games against the Pac-12. And the Bulldogs looked like winning until the 8:28 mark in the 4th quarter when the Ducks tied it up with 3:46 left to play. Duck quarterback Anthony Brown rushed for a 30-yard score to give him the win, but it wasn't pretty. I mean, and neither was Brown. He completed just 15 of 24 passes for 173 yards. The Ducks also rushed for 182, but the defense, especially playing without their ace Kayvon Thibodeau, as much as an ace can be defensive, allowed 298 passing yards and couldn't put the Bulldogs away in a dogfight despite 3 turnovers from Fresno State. Pun intended. Okay? Like, when you look at this game and you see Kayvon Thibodeau with the strip sack, just that's nasty, man. Like, that dude is unfair. 5 is slender and 5 is still 250 pounds and coming after people. Like, what do you, my goodness, this pass rush. And it's also telling that losing that dude, their talisman on defense, can do this to an Oregon football team that also had a hard time moving the football, right? It could be that Oregon is not that good. It could be that Fresno State is. It could be both, quite honestly, because Fresno State has done nothing but acquit itself well. I'm saying that I would be shocked if Oregon puts a really good shellacking on an Ohio State team we're going to get to see play next week. But I did not expect Fresno State to give Oregon a game at all. I certainly did not expect for it to be a one-score game at the start of the fourth quarter with Fresno State in the lead. I mean, you look at this 45-yard run. Like, there's so much going on here that I want to see in 10 weeks, because looking at Fresno State, that would have been my group of 5 darling had they been able to beat Oregon. I mean, because like that for me is the best team in the Pac-12. And you know what? Pac-12 media members believe that as well. Just go take a look at the preseason poll. Another reason preseason polls are awesome, because now we have this. We expect you to be great, Oregon. So go be great against Ohio State. Hey, kinfolk, I appreciate you for watching. Subscribe here and ring the bell so you don't miss the latest upload to the channel. Also, be sure to watch more videos here, like FS1 Studio shows and the best from Fox Sports and Fox Sports Digital.